After tomorrow, she won't be able to back out so easily. Clara Bennett stopped with her hand inches from the apartment door. For one breath, she thought she had misheard Elaine read. The hallway was too quiet, the carpet too thick beneath her heels, the little box of handmade place cards too carefully balanced in her arms. Tomorrow morning, Clara was supposed to marry Daniel. Tonight, she had come to surprise his family, to prove one more time that she belonged. Then Daniel answered from inside, his voice low and steady. "She trusts me. She'll sign whatever I put in front of her." Clara's fingers tightened around the cardboard box until the corner folded inward. Marcus laughed. Good, because Clara's too soft to fight anyone in court. The words did not sound like wedding stress. They sounded rehearsed, planned, certain. Clara took one step back, but her heel brushed the wall behind her. Inside, Daniel kept talking, and what he said next made the hallway tilt beneath her. "Once the inheritance clears, we only need to keep the marriage alive for 6 months." Clara had paid deposits, covered Daniel's bills when he said his consulting payments were delayed, sat beside Elaine after her surgery, changing water glasses and medication reminders while Elaine barely thanked her. She had defended Daniel to everyone who asked why the wedding had been moved up so suddenly. Now, through one closed apartment door, all of it began rearranging itself into something colder. She had thought Daniel's family looked down on her because she was a nurse, because she came from a quieter neighborhood, because her father had left her more love than status. She had thought Elaine's sudden kindness meant acceptance. She had thought Daniel's rushed wedding plans meant he couldn't wait to start their life. But Clara heard papers sliding across a table. Elaine said, "And the authorization." Daniel replied, "I'll handle it after the honeymoon. She won't question me." Clara nearly dropped the place cards. A chair scraped inside. Footsteps moved toward the door. Clara spun and slipped into the stairwell just as the apartment door opened. She pressed herself against the wall, holding her breath while Elaine looked down the hallway. Then Clara's phone buzzed in her hand. "Daniel, where are you, babe? Mom wants to see you before tomorrow." Clara stared at the message, ice moving through her chest. If Daniel knew she was coming, why had he chosen that exact moment to talk about using her? Clara stayed in the stairwell until Elaine's footsteps faded back into the apartment. Only then did she let herself breathe. Her phone still glowed in her palm with Daniel's message, cheerful and ordinary, like he had not just spoken about her as if she were a bank account with a heartbeat. She typed back with stiff fingers. Almost there, elevator was slow. Then she wiped beneath her eyes, straightened the crushed corner of the place card box, and forced herself to step into the hallway. Before she knocked, memories began clicking into place. Daniel moving the wedding up 3 months after Clara's lawyer said her father's estate would settle soon. "It feels like your dad is blessing us," he had told her, kissing her forehead. Elaine suddenly inviting Clara to lunches after months of correcting her clothes, her manners, even the way she spoke. "You'll need guidance once you're a Reed," Elaine had said. Marcus laughing at dinner, "Nurses are reliable earners. Practical women, very useful." Clara had smiled through it because Daniel squeezed her hand under the table and whispered, "Ignore him." Now Daniel opened the door before she touched it. "There you are," he kissed her cheek. "We were starting to worry." His hand settled on her waist, firm enough to guide her away from the hallway table. Clara saw the folders anyway. 3 of them, stacked beneath Elaine's purse. The top tab read, "CLARABNNETT." Elaine smiled from the living room. "Sweet girl, still bringing little crafts the night before your wedding." "They're place cards," Clara said. Daniel's grip tightened. "Your hands are shaking." "I'm just overwhelmed." Elaine crossed the room and pulled Clara into a stiff hug. Her perfume was sharp, expensive, suffocating. "Cold feet ruin good women," she whispered. Clara's skin went cold. She smiled, placed the box on a side chair and said, "I need the bathroom." Once inside, she locked the door and called Lena. "Clara," Lena answered. "What's wrong?" Clara lowered her voice. Come to Daniel's building. Now, something is wrong. Before she could say more, the bathroom doorknob turned from the outside. The doorknob twisted again. Clara, Daniel's voice came through the bathroom door, soft enough to sound caring if she had not heard him through the apartment door 10 minutes earlier. Why did you lock it? Clara ended the call and slipped the phone into her dress pocket. Habit, she said, turning on the faucet. I'll be out in a second. When she opened the door, Daniel was standing too close. Behind him, Elaine clapped her hands once. Enough nerves. Everyone's downstairs for a little toast. Downstairs, Clara asked. In the lounge, Elaine said. Family came early, neighbors too. It would be rude not to greet them. Daniel's hand found Clara's back and guided her toward the elevator. The building lounge was warm with laughter, perfume, and camera flashes. Clara recognized cousins, family friends, and older neighbors who spoke about the Reeds as if they were royalty. Everyone smiled at Daniel. Everyone watched Clara like she had been invited into something above her station. Elaine lifted a glass. To Clara, she announced, who tomorrow joins a family that believes in loyalty, obedience, and shared sacrifice. A few people laughed politely. Clara's smile froze. Across the room, Daniel's cousin was filming. Marcus raised his glass next, and to our newest family investor. The laughter this time came late and uneven. Before Clara could respond, a thin man in a gray suit stepped beside Daniel. Did the bride sign the authorization yet? He murmured. Clara turned. Daniel's jaw tightened. Mr. Voss, not now. But the accountant had already looked at Clara's face, and his own smile disappeared. Clara asked, louder than she intended, authorization for what? The room went quiet. Daniel laughed, sharp and false. Honeymoon insurance paperwork, boring stuff. Elaine's eyes hardened. At the lounge entrance, Lena appeared, breathless, phone already raised. Clara looked at her, and for the first time that night, she was not alone. Elaine leaned close to Daniel, but Clara heard every word. Get her upstairs before she embarrasses this family. Daniel's fingers closed around Clara's elbow. There's no need for a scene, he said, smiling at the watching guests as if Clara were the one behaving strangely. Let's go upstairs and talk. Clara pulled her arm free. I need air. The smile stayed on Daniel's face, but his eyes changed. For the first time, people saw the force beneath the polish. Two relatives stopped whispering. Someone lowered a glass. Clara walked toward the lobby doors, and Lena stepped in front of her. I got part of it, Lena said under her breath. Elaine's toast, Marcus calling you the family investor. Clara gripped Lena's wrist. I heard them upstairs. Daniel said once my inheritance clears, they only need to keep the marriage alive for 6 months. There's a folder with my name on it. Lena's face tightened. Do not go anywhere alone with him. The lobby doors opened behind them. Daniel came out slowly, hands raised like he was calming a frightened patient. Clara, he said gently, you're exhausted. You're turning wedding stress into something ugly. She stared at him. That voice, the same voice he used every time she questioned a charge on his card, every time she asked why Elaine wanted her lawyer's number, every time he said she was anxious because of losing her father. What authorization was Mr. Voss talking about? Clara asked. Daniel sighed. After the honeymoon, we were going to combine assets. Married people do that. Then show me the documents. Behind him, Marcus appeared in the doorway holding Clara's box of place cards. Tomorrow's already paid for, Marcus said. Don't make this embarrassing. Clara looked at Daniel. I'm not marrying you until I see every document with my name on it. Daniel's face went flat. If you cancel tomorrow, he said, everyone will know about your episodes. I documented everything. Elaine stepped outside holding the folder. You should be grateful. We were willing to take you in. Before Clara could answer, Mr. Voss rushed through the lobby doors, pale and breathless. Daniel, we have a problem. The bank just called. Mr. Voss stopped in the lobby, one hand braced against the wall. Daniel turned on him. Not here. But Mr. Voss looked past Daniel and straight at Clara. The bank flagged the application, he said. They said there's a spousal consent form with her signature on it. Clara's voice came out steady. I'm not his spouse. The guests who had followed from the lounge gathered near the entrance. Elaine stepped forward, clutching the folder against her chest. She's overwhelmed, Elaine said loudly. The poor girl has been unstable all week. Lena lifted her phone. Then you won't mind saying that again while I'm recording. Elaine's mouth shut. Clara held out her hand. Give me the folder. Daniel moved in front of Elaine. This is private. No, Clara said. My name is on it. Daniel's face twitched. You're confused. Clara took out her own phone. The lobby went still when Daniel's recorded voice played from the speaker. Once the inheritance clears, we only need to keep the marriage alive for 6 months. A woman near the elevator gasped. Then Marcus's voice followed, careless and smug. Clara's too soft to fight anyone in court. No one moved. Clara looked at Daniel, then Elaine, then the folder pressed against Elaine's ribs. You moved the wedding up because my father's estate was settling. You needed my inheritance to make your business loan look secure. Mr. Voss swallowed. The company's accounts are in default. They needed her assets attached after marriage. And the authorization? Clara asked. Daniel said nothing. Mr. Voss lowered his eyes. It would have allowed Daniel to act on certain joint financial matters once the marriage was recorded. Clara nodded once, as if a door inside her had finally closed. Daniel reached for her shoulder. Clara, listen. She stepped back before he touched her. You were not marrying me, she said. You were acquiring me. Daniel looked around for rescue, but his relatives avoided his eyes. One aunt stared at Elaine. How much of this did you know? Elaine's perfect posture collapsed by an inch. Marcus muttered, it was just strategy. The words landed worse than silence. That night, Clara canceled the wedding. Lena sent the recordings to Clara's lawyer before Daniel could twist the story. The bank opened a fraud review over the preliminary document Clara had never signed. Mr. Voss cooperated to protect his license. Vendors were notified. The venue refused to shield Daniel's family from the payment mess they had created. By morning, the Reed name was no longer wrapped in admiration. Guests who had toasted them now whispered about forged paperwork, manipulation, and the bride who found out the truth the night before. Daniel sent apologies first, then anger, then messages claiming Clara had destroyed his life. Clara forwarded everything to her lawyer and blocked him. Elaine tried calling Clara's relatives, but they already knew. No one defended the Reeds anymore. Clara kept her inheritance. Daniel lost the marriage, the loan, and the polished family image he had used as a weapon. Weeks later, Clara sat alone in the apartment she had once planned to share with him. The lease was now only in her name. She opened the box of handmade place cards. One by one, she tore them in half. Not crying, not shaking. Just finished. Then she placed her father's photo beside her, signed her new financial documents with her lawyer present, and slid Daniel's untouched wedding ring into an envelope marked return. The wedding never happened, but the night before it saved the rest of her life.